Hello everyone, welcome back. This time I actually remember to hit my start streaming button, or at least that's what Twitch claims. So that's a good thing to make sure. Just double checking my dashboard because it's like, yay, it says you're live, and maybe I should remember to do that every time. So, welcome back everyone. Tonight going to play a little something different. Going to dive into some Velopack work. So we've done a little bit of Velopack stuff. Last time I think we wrapped up working on some potential S3 integrations, which at some point I do want to go back and wrap up. But in the meantime, there was some work that was done to add something called channel promotions, i.e. the idea of being able to take your app, put it through maybe a beta channel and then into a production channel and that kind of thing. So that feature is not shipped yet. It is in my dev environment, but in the effort, because me and my partner are collaborating on this, we got it shipped into the dev environment in a state that works, but I have some notes on things I want to go back and clean up and fix some testing and other sort of things. So Fable may have done some lifting, and it's really good at making a mess of things and spreading it out in difficult to spot bugs. So I noted a handful of things that were in there. Were like, yeah, this is a problem, but it's not a problem for the dev environment. So ship it, and as long as we fix it before we go to prod, that's all that matters. So that is what we are doing. We are fixing that up before we go to prod. And we will see how late we go tonight. Just on a personal note, today was my last day at my prior company in Teletech that I've been at for just shy of 13 years. So it was very much a bittersweet day. The company is filled with a lot of really great people. Some of you may have heard me make a comment over the years of one of my kind of, we'll call it comfort food snacks, is something I affectionately refer to as tuna waffles. It's basically a tuna melt, but you subtract the bread and you add a waffle. And it's wonderful and lovely. And so I got tuna waffles today at work, and that was a lovely, I'll call it tribute. And they were really good waffles too. They were cheesy waffles, like they'd baked cheese into the batter. Mwah, it was wonderful, wonderful stuff. And so I ate a bunch of tuna waffles this afternoon. So yeah, it was definitely a little bittersweet. Like there's a lot of people there that I'm going to miss. And hopefully will not be too much of a stranger. So if anyone's local, I will still be at user groups and hopefully speaking at different things and that sort of thing. So we'll see how all of that goes. For now, let's jump into some Velopack stuff. I'm going to go, let's go here. Okay, so couple things just to kind of update people on where we're at. So for people who may not be familiar with Velopack or Velopack Flow, which is the bit that we're going to be working on here, there is some updates that are going to be coming to Velopack.io. I don't think they're live yet. No, they are not live yet. So this website's about to get a bit of an overhaul. There's a branch with a pretty slick update with a bunch of stuff in it, which is kind of cool. And it really highlights Flow in a lot of ways. So for people unfamiliar, Velopack, I'm part owner in the company. It is a SDK and tool chain for building cross-platform installers for your desktop applications. It will do it'll also provide an update framework for you so that you can go through and do it. And if that's all you want, it is free. Tooling, SDK, have at it. If you would like hosting for your updates, then that's where Velopack Flow comes in, and we are happy to do that. There is a free tier for Velopack Flow if you want to try it out, see what you think. But it is capped on like team size and size of updates and that kind of thing. So there is some bits that are there, but it is basically full featured as far as what's in there. So that Velopack Flow portion, this is the part that is not open source that we will be working on tonight because I am part owner and I give myself permission to work on closed source stuff. So, huzzah. Yes, I'm currently drinking out of a C# goblet. So, but don't worry. Got the Mountain Dew too. So we're good. So that is the part that we are going to be playing around with tonight just for purposes of that. For anybody interested, app.velopack.io. Need to pull my life together. I don't think I've seen that one before. That was funny. Come on, log me in. Log me in. So this is the bit here. And so if I pick on ungroup, thank you. Like my material design thing. So the idea here is right now I only have a single channel, but you may end up making a channel that's, say, beta, right? And then you may want to actually publish a release into the beta channel, let people have your beta releases, and then at some point you may want to take one of your beta releases and promote it into your, in my case, win channel or production channel or whatever you choose to name this thing, which is great. All right, gotta actually clean up my mess. So that is the feature that we are building, but there's actually quite a bit of work that goes into that, specifically because there is some work depending on the platform, because Linux, Mac, and Windows are all different in how they're going to handle this. You cannot just easily change signed bits that are going to be promoted. Now there's some kind of cheap tricks and things of that nature, which we probably won't dive too deep into, because I don't think the stuff we care about requires it. But it does take a decent amount of work to be able to go through and actually do that kind of promotion, because it's not just as simple as, oh, okay, now that we want to promote these bits, we're just going to go through and change it. It's like, well, that kind of works, but not quite, right? Like that's only some of the way there. Okay, so there's the setup, and then I left myself a couple notes. There's also this one in here that I may go back. We are storing encryption keys inside of a key vault now, so I want to add a health check in for my key vault as well, just so that I know. I guess that's the thing twice. But this was just my notes as I was going through and dealing with. Some of these are kind of similar, but a lot of this thing is just doing a ton of work. And the one that's the most heinous to me right now is this File.ReadAllBytes. And specifically, the problem with this comes from the idea that we are running these things inside of container apps. And if you do a File.ReadAllBytes on a really big file, that's a problem, because that's a big byte array, and that's bad. So we don't want to do that. I also updated my Visual Studio to latest like 15 minutes ago, because why not? So we're gonna, let's see, which one do I have queued up here? Well, this is Insiders. No, we're not doing Insiders. We're gonna go for Canary and see what happens. We are going to go for Canary and see what happens. Okay. So, also, somewhat fun related note, I have been renewed as a Microsoft MVP, so woohoo! I get to be an MVP for another year, which is sweet. I enjoy it very much. So that part makes me excited. Okay, so let's pop this. We're just... And then... Oh, thank you, Blue Spider. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's one of those, like, it's never clear to me, because they kind of intentionally keep it a little bit hidden, because it is like every year as an MVP, you submit your application over with, all your contributions and things that you've done. And it's kind of weird, because you get stack ranked against everyone else, and then they draw the line at a certain point, and if you're above the line, you're in. If you're below the line, you're out. And so the same level of contributions doesn't always get you in, but they also have this kind of inertia thing where the longer you've been in, the more grace you are given. So that part is kind of nice, because they don't want to take somebody who's been in the program for 15 years and kick them because they had one bad year due to a sickness or something and weren't able to run the conference that normally they would run, that makes up the bulk of their contributions or something, right? Hypothetical. So that kind of situation, which is kind of nice. Okay, so let's start here, and we're gonna see if Canary give me problems, because the Canary builds have been a little flaky, but The whole point in running these is so that if there are bugs, they are taken out on people like me rather than letting them get to the insiders channel and being taken out on people like you. So that's great. Let's see, read all bytes. Okay, let's go with spelunking. Holy. Okay, tests I don't care about. I was like, wow, that's a lot of usages. Okay, tests are fine because tests I have control over the input file. So that part I'm not too concerned about. These ones I am concerned about because these ones are inside of my brand new promotion processing service, which runs in a container app job. And so this is the one where I'm most concerned with feeding in a file. Now, the nice part here is the files that are getting to this service have already been scanned for malware. So I'm not that concerned about them doing things maliciously. It'll be a little more, that's less likely because they've already gotten past my malware scans. So unless that ends up being a thing, why do we have this? Kill that. Again, I know Fable helped with a bunch of this, and so I've been slowly undoing some of the WAT that has been in there. What are you complaining about here? If statement can be simplified, I'm sure it could, but I don't want to. I do want to change this up. Use explicit type instead of var. We'll just do the one instance because I really just want to do this and update it because clearly Fable doesn't know anything about latest syntax. And there's a couple of these things here where I want to keep an eye on what's actually being done, because these types of bugs where you can end up with very large arrays being allocated, like when I see this kind of thing, I'm immediately pausing to look to see what this is going to be invoked with, because that strikes me as an easy way to accidentally do something very, very bad. Because what is this fat being used for? File access table, I think is what that is. Okay, so that's not a bad problem. Let's go back to my file read all bytes. Okay, so you here are used where? So what exactly is being passed into here? Because the file read all bytes is not horrible if I know that the file being passed in isn't going to be something horrendous, right? But if the file is outside of my control, then I'm going to get a little bit twitchy about it. And I just flagged this because I saw it was problematic. This is tests, so I don't actually care about this usage. So it's only these two here. Let's see. MSI path. That immediately sounds like this is going to be a problem. Try read from signature. So ultimately, because MSI path, I can only assume is the actual path to an MSI, which means it could be massive. And that is going to be a problem. Yeah, installer path there, and I already know this code path a little bit, so I know that that is bad. Okay, so this is a beautiful example of something we need to fix. We're going to go here, and I'm going to mark it. So Control KK puts a little bookmark in, which I love using these bookmarks as just kind of quick anchors. And actually, let me go through and let's clear all bookmarks because I don't know if I have any already. If I do, I'm not using them anymore. Okay, so we'll put one there just as a reference point, because this one here is file read bytes, but this is file try read stream. So what exactly is this thing doing? It's pulling out the byte array here, feeding the byte array into here as a read-only span. And this doesn't need... Okay, so if it's less than 512, to do header fields, number of fast sectors. Sorry, I'm also learning this code as we go too because I was not the author of it. So this definitely requires Mountain Dew. It's definitely a Mountain Dew type problem. But what I'm most interested in is where this thing ends up going. Because we're going to read, let's see, read uint 16. I assume these read the second parameter is an offset. Yeah. So read it offset there. Read largest offset is at 72 so far. We do care about the length, which is something we could pass in independently. Okay, but then we are passing in this same read-only span here. And then this guy here, we are ripping through this whole thing, aren't we? This, sorry, got here late. This from a broken builder test. No, good question. So this is from a PR merge, honestly. We are adding a new feature for channel promotions. And right now, I merged the PR because I'm collaborating with my partner on it. And we just needed something out into our, oh, this is funny. We needed something out in our dev environment that he could test with because this is the back end API and he's working on front end and client stuff. And so I wanted to ship something out there so he could play with it in the dev side of the fence. But I want to address some of these issues, specifically the File.ReadAllBytes is the problematic one that I want to dig into first because it is a potential memory problem because it's being run inside of a container app. And so anybody with a large enough app will probably end up crashing the promotion container, which is not great. So we don't like that. So looking to understand a little bit of how these file bytes are being used because like he very much like we both leverage AI, but he tends to direct it and then ship it, which is fine. So he likes to be in control of what it's doing. But there is a lot of complicated algorithmic things in here that is what makes it somewhat difficult to do. Try get sector span. Oh, I see. So this is just pulling, looking for a marker. Okay. That's fine. Where else does file go? That's it. So at least through there, that's the only usage, which is fine. Let's continue down. And then it comes into here. I'm really tempted to switch this out to like a file stream and then just seek it around as needed. That's probably the path of least resistance here. Just looking at the usage of how this is done, I think. I don't know that for a fact, but I suspect rather than doing an array and passing that around, a file stream is probably easiest. Try get sector span. That's the one that we looked at before. Great. Need more usages? No. Those are both fine. And then read from chain. What do you do with file? You just care about length. Sector span, same thing. And then read from here. File. Read from chain are the ones that we just looked at. We don't need the long cast here. Don't need the U long cast on both sides of the equation. That goes away. I think just going, it looks to be that I should be able to change this out to a operator. I should be able to switch this out into a file stream and get away with this, I think. I think what we can do here is file stream. This is probably the path of least resistance. So we get rid of this. Let's see. File, stream, file. And then I think we just got to chase the bunny rabbit. Oh, I think I can get away with just stream here, can't I? I think so. Byte array. Why are you thinking it's a byte array? Oh, because this thing is returning a byte array. So I actually do need this to be a file stream, or I need to change the return from above. Actually, let's try that. I think I can get away with just doing stream and stream. And then let's go here. I think we can just do stream. Let's see here. Thank you, Copilot. Void enact read. The breakdown here. Called the stream read is made and the return value isn't checked. Ah. Oh, so we could just go read exactly. Okay. Okay. That makes perfect sense. We go there, there, and there. And the nice part is there is a decent number of integration tests around this, so if I break anything, I should know about it fairly quickly, I think. Okay, so that goes there. We're going to come back to you in a minute. Let's see. Cannot. Should this be an int or should this be a long? I kind of wonder if this should just be a long. Let's go here and we're going to do stream. Sure, change that up. Come back down here, come here. Change you to, oh, Copilot was probably about to do it for me. Stream there, long there, and then stream here, long there, and then this guy. What is the point of this span here? Oh, because it's wanting to output a read-only span. Probably going to end up looking very similar to this, where sector size. I kind of think I can do array pool of byte. Okay. This is... Okay, let's start here. Buffer. Oh, what are you doing? Okay, what did you do here? So goes to the position, reads exactly into as the span. This doesn't work, does it? Or does it get away with it? Because I think I actually want to do this first and then this second. Oh, that's why I can't do. Okay, so I gotta go. Uh, go var buffer. Oh, I can't buffer span. Sounds good. Yeah, thank you. I think we do that. Izzy, Merry Christmas. We are attempting to write slightly more performant memory-based code. Let's see. Uh, yep. Total sectors goes to long. That goes there. And I think this is going to end up being. I don't know that this one is actually going to convert because I think it's actually taking the read-only span, which means it might actually be the original code in there as well. Go back up. Let's see here. So, like, okay. Ooh, on stage 3 already. Well, sort of. This isn't necessarily make it fast. This is, I think, more make it right. Because in this case, this is part of the Velopack processor, and so it lives in a container app job with somewhat limited memory. And so before there were calls here that were doing file read all bytes on like the uploaded MSI file. Problem being, as soon as that MSI file exceeds the memory I have, kapoof. So, and this is a beautiful example of AI gaslighting you, where it just is like, hey, you know what? I can fix this compile bug if I delete the code. It's like, yeah, that'll work, but that ain't what I want. So, you know, that's exciting. Let's see. File length, and because really I just want to say I kind of want to give my like I want a because the sequence equals was acting on read only span of byte, I believe. I'm kind of tempted to give myself an extension in here where I can just leverage. I've got my service core here. And I'm tempted to give myself something special to make this work nicely. Let's give myself something helpful here. So we're gonna do this. Stream extensions. And something like public static class extension, and then we're going to use the new extension stuff because that's what makes it cool. Read all bytes async. Okay. Dear Dunce Pilot, no, this is not what I want. AI fix tests by deleting them and removing them from CI/CD, faking the coverage report. Yeah, it like this is why you gotta watch it like a hawk. Like, okay, so it doesn't understand that. Doesn't understand here. Read. I think I'm gonna do it get bytes. And I think what I want to do is read only span of byte. Get bytes. We don't need a cancellation token. I do need a int offset. And actually, I think what I can just do is actually arrange here. Let's see. I don't really need the null check because this I control all consumers. We are absolutely not going to copy it to a memory stream and do any of that. I think what I actually want is something more akin to what we have down here. Where did you go? I think we kind of can do this. So if range, they're not a length on range. Hmm. I wish. Why does range not have get offset and length? Calculates the start offset and length of the range operator using a collection length. That's not quite what I want. I just kind of want to know how big of a thingy am I about to get. Because what does this do? Okay. Return null bang for the moment, and we're just going to tell it to shut up. Okay, great. So we're going to come back to that here in a moment. Or actually, you know what? Rather than trying to, do we just implement it now? I think we do something about like this. We do something about like this. Problem is, how do I... Hey, Hessen. Yeah, fire away with questions. Happy to jump on anything. Trying to decide how I return from a rented array pool. I don't know if I can. Maybe I shouldn't do this. I'm torn. I'm torn. I may not even like that idea. Because I guess I don't actually want to return. I actually do want to just allocate. Ugh, it just feels so bad to do so. I wonder if the intent here is... I wonder if I should pass in the target. Let's see. Are Boolean flags okay to suppress an event in WPF? I want to suppress one particular list view selection changed event when the data context of the list view changes. If the list view has selected items and the data context changes, it clears out the selected items, which triggers the selection change event. Here's the demo. Wonderful. Which is warning me to be trustworthy of your links. Okay, let's take a... And so effectively this guy here. So the answer is yes. State flags. So I was actually having this discussion with some colleagues just earlier this week. Is state flags in general I don't like, because it's easy to get yourself into states where just adding one more flag, the Cartesian cross product of how many combinations of your flags gets to be massive. But that only matters for flags that interact with each other. And in the case of WPF, it is somewhat common to see this kind of pattern get implemented. I've seen this done a lot in observable collections, because quite often people will implement their own derived class from observable collection that suppresses the collection changed event while they are making manipulations to the observable collection, and then they'll raise like collection changed reset at the very end or something of that nature, right? You've got a bunch of edits that you want to make, and functionally you're going to be blowing things away, and you don't want that collection changed event just firing over and over and over and over and over. So you set a flag, suppress the event from going up, make all the changes you want, fire a reset, you're good to go. So in this case, yes, I think using Boolean flags in this nature is an acceptable way of doing it. The one thing to watch out for, and like it's not a problem here, is you have to kind of be cautious about can you get into a state where a flag gets set and then doesn't get immediately unset, right? Like in this case, you're on a data context changed, and so as long as there's a binding from the data context to the list view here, this thing's pretty much guaranteed to change. It's unlikely that you would have a different data context, but the list view and the list view selection not change as well, right? It's theoretically possible in some cases where you've got this two different instances of a view model, but they're saving the same instance of a collection, and so it doesn't fire, but practically that doesn't really happen. Yeah, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to run into that kind of situation, and especially in app level code. So I've got this idea where there's kind of different tiers of developers, and at the very top of the stack you have application level developers, and they can make the most assumptions about their code because typically they're the only consumers of it. So you can in some ways get a little sloppy, but it's not necessarily slop because you can make assumptions because you have a much more constrained environment, right? Below that, you have people that build like libraries, and they can make far fewer assumptions because how their library is going to get used, they have some control over that, but not a ton, right? The developer will always find some way to break things. And then below that, you've got like frameworks, and you get down to languages and compilers and that sort of thing. But for this sort of thing at an application level, I have no objection to it, right? Chris, welcome in. Good to have you. And welcome in everyone from Chris's stream. Hopefully you all had a good one. Swiss, good to have you. Excellent. Excellent. We are somewhat rabbit trailing for the moment, answering a quick WPF question. But at present, tonight's project is building out some, let's switch back here, and we don't need that. Building out some cleaner code for my Velopack project. So 42. So for anybody who hasn't seen Velopack, it is a company I am part owner in. It is a framework, library, tool chain for building cross-platform installers for your desktop apps. Comes with full updates. And if that's what you want, it is free to use. The tooling and SDK is free as in beer. Open source on GitHub, have at it. However, if you want someone to host your installers for you, that's where we have our thing called Velopack Flow. And that is what we are working on here. So specifically, we are working in the feature area where we have channel promotions. So you've got an app that maybe you have a beta channel for. You want to promote that into a production channel. That's kind of difficult to do in a lot of cases, especially if we're talking about signed installers, because you typically can't edit a file without breaking the signing. And so each platform kind of handles it a little bit differently. And there's some fun tricks in there that we leverage, aside from Apple, where the short version is you just got to re-sign it. But given all of those situations, we can, with appropriate config, we can promote a release from, say, a beta channel into a production channel, or however you want. There's going to be some more features coming along around this with like permissions, and maybe you want to lock a channel down so like you can never push a release directly into prod. It has to go through beta first, or that kind of thing. But that's a vNext feature. Right now, we're just getting channel promotions in so that you can kind of link them together and then promote them up and out. So that is what we are working on tonight. And specifically, I have a problem because the code that we merged that is in my dev environment, not prod yet, dev, because this feature is not live yet, is currently attempting to do a File.ReadAllBytes in several places, which is no bueno when you are running inside of a container with like 500 meg of RAM and somebody uploads a 2 gig installer file. So that does not work well. And so we are fixing that and making a mess of all sorts of code in the process. So we've broken a handful of things, and now we're just trying to get them all back in shape. This used to be a byte array, and now we're just going to grab a stream to the file. That way we can kind of, iterate over it, and we don't have to worry about our memory going nuclear on us. That's the game plan. And we're doing it with a copious amount of Mountain Dew. So that's the game plan. And that's how far we're going to see if we can get before either the Mountain Dew or my sanity runs out. It's one of the two that's going to run out first. But I've got a lot of Mountain Dew sitting next to me. A lot. I suspect my sanity will go out first. Okay. So this is where we had landed. And Chris, enjoy your food. And so this guy here is, I just need to look at where this is coming in from because, okay, tests we don't care about. Is it sugar free at least? Kenneth, I have bad news. No, it is not. I will say I don't hate the sugar free Mountain Dew. Izzy, you have sanity. I have some currently. I'm gaining more. And the Mountain Dew has, or I should say Pepsi has done a great job of marketing the sugar-free ones such that I oftentimes accidentally purchase it, not realizing that that's what I'm grabbing. Because they've made them look very similar in the marketing packaging on the outside, and I will get home at times and go, dang nabbit. And I'm not going to spend time going back, returning and exchange it, and I'm not going to waste the Mountain Dew, so I obviously have to drink it. So this is very much sugared Mountain Dew, at least what I've got queued up here. I don't think I have any sugar-free over there. I might. I've got three boxes I haven't cracked yet. So there's a chance, but I don't think any of them are. I feel like there was something else. I don't know. That was it. I'm in a remarkably good mood. Today was my last day at my current job, and so I am. Tomorrow morning, I don't have to get up for work. It's a wonderful feeling to not have to feel like you have to get up for work. Bittersweet. I loved my old job. You hear me cracked out of your mind tonight, then? You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Do you have enough to share? Izzy, I always have enough to share. The problem is the shipping between me and you is going to be a little bit of an issue. There's kind of the matter of an ocean to deal with. That is, I suspect it would be easier for me to order something online and have it drop shipped to you than trying to send some of mine your way. Okay, so here we are always, I just want to make sure we are always in control of here. That comes in from there. Source bytes. This is testing code, so I don't care. Okay, so this is functionally the only entry point into here. FedEx. Yeah, the thing is, I've done international shipping via FedEx. It's not cheap. It is not cheap. Something about having to put things on airplanes and fly it around. So at this point, I can assume that the only entry point here is this. I kind of don't like that this is public for the purpose of direct testing. I always get twitchy about that, but it's probably okay for now. So the interesting part here is the range operator is going to end up, so these two dots is going to read up to 8 bytes, and then sequence equals says, is the value of the two sequences between the left and the right matching? And this is just a hard-coded span of the relevant byte signature. So if the file's less than 512, but okay, we're just going to do something. Bool matches header. I don't want to. I want to just put this down in stream file, and we're just going to do it down in here. So if yeah, well, no, don't do that. We know, no, stop it. File length greater than, no, Copilot. I'm intentionally trying to, you are sabotaging me. Stop it. Okay. Let's see. Read exactly. And in this case, what we can do is we can actually do byte array, header bytes, get stack alloc. And then we can do header bytes. What's your problem here? What did I mess up? I know I don't stack alloc enough in here, so what did I do wrong? Oh, I can't do it as a byte array. Got it. Got it. I got you. We can do this. Read exactly file bytes and then return, let's see, header bytes, sequence equals header signature. There we go. More code. Let's see, or not matches header. There we go. Problem solved. And now we're just going to pick you up, and I don't really like putting you here, so I'm going to put you at the bottom of my function because that is just what makes sense to me. Bring. There we go. Okay. Gets me in there, gets me in there, gets me in here. Okay. You just need to convert to stream and then total sectors long. And then this doesn't need to be upcast anymore. That goes away. Okay. That function actually compiles again, so that's great. Oh, I hate how it's been doing that. Thank you. Bum. What's your problem? Sector. So when this guy pulls out the sector span as a read-only set of bytes, is that really what it should do? Kind of wondering if it's worth pulling out, because this is effectively copying out, which is, it works. I'm just wondering if in these cases, if it makes more sense to just move the pointer around. I think we get bit a little bit if I do that. Probably already going to get bit a little bit doing this. Because that one there's the same issue. And then this one here, this is also slicing up the span. I don't mind this too much, being limited down to just 66 bytes. That's kind of okay. Maybe I should do an overload of each of these that takes in. Let's do an overload of these. So let me go here. Come here, Kraken. I need you. Because I think what I want to do is I want a copy of this. So I'll just overload these methods here, depending on what we're doing. That'll fix some of them. And then U32 is the other one. Let's see here. U32, I'll take. Thank you. Let's see, put you there, overload that sucker. There we go. Okay, so that gets both of those back working. U64 is the only other one. Why does it not remember? I was trying to figure out why it seemed like it was constantly switching my scroll position. Okay. Okay, well, it seems like it's working. I don't know what that was. That's okay. Okay, there we go. We don't need that, don't need that. Don't need that, don't need that. Okay, so at least compound file now is working. The real test will be, does it actually pass all the integration tests? Yeah. I know there's going to be, yeah, it's, we are not using this. I think we're going to whack it for now. I think we decided we don't need it. I think that's the game plan. Probably don't need it. Probably don't need it. Okay. Cannot implicitly convert byte to string. Okay, so where are we here? We're back in compound. Oh, hang on. There's my problem. My webcam is covering up my scroll bar and I'm missing usages. Okay, so this is returning byte array. I am somewhat concerned that the output of this is the stream. Maybe we should check the usages here of this guy again, because he wants the signature back. And by returning the file stream, I've somewhat broken that. Because at the end of the day, it really does need the bytes. I made a boo-boo. So I do want this to still be the byte array. And actually, we can do better. Read-only span of bytes. We can do that, I think. May not be a... Wait, what? The type read-only span of byte may not be a ref struct type parameter, allowing struct refs in order to use as parameter t in the generic type null. Oh, because it's nullable. Oh, that's why it was done that way. Okay. I also have a mild philosophical problem with the word try and it not being a boolean return, but that's a different problem. Okay, so you actually do need to stay as the byte array there. Which means, oh wait, the rest of it just works still. Because this guy reads from chain, pulls it back out. Okay, so that goes like that. Great, great, great. Okay. I hate it when try doesn't return a bool. Yeah, it is definitely a, it feels wrong. The only small limiting factor is that occasionally you can't do try methods if you're doing something fancy with like ref outputs and things of that nature, but it's not really the case here. Let's see, file, read all bytes. So in this case, oh, and actually, hang on, I just realized. We crack open the stream, but we don't ever close it. Don't like that very much. Oh, fine. I'm just, it's not worth trying to avoid the indentation. Just do it the right way, you moron. There you go. That makes me feel better. So we close that guy up. Okay. And then this guy here is going to be using file stream, file open read, and that should get me through there. This guy here needs to be a stream. Let's see, is that the same logic? So if length is less than 8, is the opposite inversion 8? Yes. And then read exactly 8 bytes and see if the string is equal. Yes. I feel like I'm going to need to put this logic into something usable. Let's see. So before it was taking the bytes and writing them out to a file stream. Now we could just do source bytes seek to the beginning, source bytes copy to file stream. That seems correct. Okay. Happy with that. Continue down. Let's see. It is create signed MS. Just trying to decide if I want to do this here, because this is building up a byte array. Where's the return on this? File. That's interesting. So all in test, which is fine. Like that, the one thing that makes this safe to me is because it's in a test where I'm controlling the inputs. These aren't like user provided things. I'm okay with it. So I think what we're gonna do is probably leave that as is. Var ms gets new memory stream MSI, and we'll just do there we go. And then what is this? Try read stream. Okay. So it's really just looking for the null output. Okay. That is fine there. Build. Okay. So that kills one of them off. Now the real question, have I broken something? So let's go here, processing service tests, run those. Because of those, oh wait, that's payment processing. Try again, promotion processing. Oh, bummer. Something doesn't work. So we have broken a handful of things. Let's see, which of these is the lowest level thing to test? That is not the lowest level thing to test. You always want to start with the test that's closest to the thing you touched, because fixing that test will almost assuredly fix the other thing. Okay. So fragmented stream, whole file scan misses, file reader finds. Okay. Let's start here. Where is, let's see, read MSI channel, file full name is equal to stable, expected to be equal to stable, but received empty string. Okay. That is, try read MSI channel tag. What was that? Okay, so, well, why are you trying to rewrite this? Try read stream, because That isn't not, no. You don't have, like, you're trying to call into here by passing, I don't think that's what we want. Okay, so you're an idiot, Dunce Pilot, and we're going to debug this. Go take a look and see how it goes. Though we'll see if Canary works. This was my problem earlier today, is Canary kept crashing on breakpoints. Okay, we're already past where I was before, so that's already a good thing. Okay, so we're going to grab the file, take the file, great, open it. File turn open, file stream, great. Length, position. I'm going to just pin these two because I have a feeling I'm going to want those. Actually, where's my watch window? Add item to watch. File dot position. Feel like I just want to keep an eye on you. Okay. Matches header is where we broke out. Behavior straddles the sector bender, so it's not present. Scan the logical string. The tag is found. So let's back up here. That's the bug there. Stop there. Little things like the less than not being pointed in the right direction. Okay. YOLO this guy. See if he passes. Hey, look at that. Okay, so now let's rerun all the compound file tests. Those ones pass. Boy, it'd be really cool if the entire set of bugs was Kevin was an idiot and got his less than and greater than backwards. Oh, it's not going to be that easy. Okay, I'm going to just run the top real quick. I know we've got one down on the transformer, but we'll check it in a minute. Okay, so just a couple failures. Let's see. Let's see. Expect to be self-signed, but was tag signed. Let me just look. What is the setup here? This is probably the next one to do. Let's see. Unsigned, self-signs, and tags. So this is the one that is expected to be true, but is not. So let's debug it. Let's see where you come from. Okay. Oh, this is probably actually here. The signature is found. It's a big byte array. Sure how I feel about that. The provided data is tagged with universal class value 6, but it should have been universal class 16. Okay, well that is lovely and very helpful, and thank you. I don't know what any of that means. Okay. Okay. First of all, I gotta do this. My OCD requires me to upgrade code. Oh, look at that. We've got our next file, read all bytes. Do not like you, Sam I am. Like, rip through every byte in the file looking for this thing. Oh, it hurts me. It hurts me. Part of why this hurts me is I used to work on some software that was used for forensic video processing. And this sort of code is exactly what was written in there before. And shockingly, the bug report that came in was, hey, when I load a video file up that's bigger than 4 gigs, it doesn't work. It's like, yep, that doesn't work with big files. You can't just like take the bytes from a user provided file and load them into an array. That's bad. Don't do that. Unless you've done something to guarantee that the file size is going to be reasonable, just no, this bad. So this will be on my list of things to kill shortly, but not until we get this thing working. Okay, because that's the beauty of these tests, is we have tests to tell us when things are wrong. So restamped MSI. So the question is, the source is coming in incorrectly. The output reads as signed by our carrier, the repromotion detection hook. Okay. It's signed by ephemeral carrier. Try read stream. Let's see. Reads the local, or I'm sorry, logical bytes of the stream name of the compound files, but return no one the file is not a compound, the stream is absence, or the structure is malformed. Never throws on file content. Yup. See, my OCD requires me to update NuGet packages, but the Microsoft OpenAI is not supported by other Blazor and identity packages. Yeah, that's the new one around the 3x version, if I remember right, because they have, there's a, if I remember right, Izzy, they put out a README specifically on the migration because it is straight up breaking. Nobody needs an array bigger than 2 to the 32 elements. Bill Gates probably. I mean, there was that famous quote of, what is it? Nobody needs more than, 512K of RAM or something like that. Like, who would ever need that? Like, I think we've proven that is definitely false. 64K, yeah. It was something tiny. Where it was like, yeah, I have more than that in my watch. Like, it's hard to imagine that making sense anymore. Okay, so the question is, where is this thing falling apart? Because this guy here, yeah, 3x, but VS Moans, there's a new package. My Enigma machine needs more. Yeah, that is the problem with Visual Studio's package manager, is it doesn't take into account subtle versioning differences, right? Like, it also, the built-in Visual Studio package manager also doesn't account for when people are on slightly older frameworks, because a lot of the Microsoft libraries, the major version is supposed to be in line with your .NET version. So if you're on .NET 10, you get a 10. You should use a 10x version of a library. If you're on .NET 9, you use the 9x version of the library. Great, fine. It's the way they can handle the multiple version things. The problem is if you're on 9, the NuGet package manager goes, I want to upgrade to 10. 10 is bigger than 9, and it's yeah. You just end up having to be somewhat intelligent about which things you let them upgrade or not. But Izzy, if you're out on GitHub, you can configure like your Dependabot or Renovate with various packages and say, hey, don't bring this one above this major rev. Okay, so for this guy here, I think what I might want to do is just stash, look at the output of this test, and then come back and pop the changes. Because I don't know which one is correct here. Let me debug into here one more time, because I want to just get some numbers. But I think what I want to do is, because we're getting a signature back, and the problem is I'm getting a signature and I got no idea if these bytes are correct, right? So we're gonna do this maneuver. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put you here, and I'm gonna do poor man's screenshot, and that's all we're gonna do. And we're gonna check and see, because I suspect it is going to be an issue with the signature coming back, because that's more closely in line with what we just changed. Go here, go stash those suckers. And then we come back over here to this test and we go debug test. Then we're going to take a look at those signed bytes and see Okay, so short version, they are all different, and the length is significantly bigger. It's weird because it's not quite double. It's more than double. 872. Okay, so there's okay, so short version, there's a difference in here, and I have to believe it's going to be something around the fact that as we move the stream's pointer, we are probably getting bit. Um oh, that is okay, hang on. Hang on, we gotta pop the code to get back to our stuff. Stop. Thank you. Yeah, load the code up. Because secretly what's happening is well, each of these things are doing position before reading. So those should be fine because I should be able to repeat those every time. These ones, okay, so maybe I need to look at these file read exactly because this is probably what's biting me. Because there's no good option here. Because the prior code that was not doing this, and we might be able to just catch it here. Let me make this a little bigger. Go about that big. Can I collapse this sidebar? Can't collapse this sidebar while in here, can I? Because in order to do that, I need to click that off. That's not helpful. I'd like to collapse the sidebar. Here's what we'll do. Put my big head on the other side. There we go. Problem solved. Okay. So we got rid of the thing that's unused. That's fine. That's fine. The matches header. So before, this was checking the sequence. This thing is matching the header, reading the bytes, but after the read, the position is going to be different. So one, that might be one of the breaks right out the gate. So that's probably worth fixing immediately. Let's go here. Let's see. I think we can just do that. Okay, let's just validate this real quick. I expect it to be 0 and then reset to 0, but I just want to confirm my assumption. So when in doubt, always confirm assumptions. Okay, file position is 8. Interesting. Where, well, ooh. What? Uh, why does that? Okay, hold on. I am confused. Oh. Did I break it in the test? Did I break it up here? Oh, look at that. I did it here as well. Oh. Okay. So okay. I've done a bad thing. I have done a bad thing. Okay. Okay. I don't know that this is the full cause. Let's go back. We want our stream extensions back. Let's see. Public static. Good morning, JC. Welcome in. We are playing around on Velopack Flow, the backend API, and we are currently trying to convert a bunch of file read all byte calls to something that will not blow up my memory. Let's see. So I think what I want is public static bool sequence equals. All right, so we're going to make it. No, that is definitely no. No. Like, why? That's not it. That is not it. Where is the compound file? Matches header is down here, and I want this guy because it's going to be this is what I actually care about. Let's see. Other sequence. Right, so what we will do is something like this. Read exactly, but what we want to do is long last position, stream, position. In theory, I should probably be checking stream is seekable before doing this, but I own the code, so I'm not too concerned. Let's see. Read exactly buffer. Oh, this is not supposed to be static. And then we don't do this, we don't do this, we don't do this, and then this comes across. Now we can do sequence equals, other sequence, pulls that through, does the needful here. Great. Okay, so now what we can do is we can come over here, and this entire function, we just lambda out now, and go bytes sequence equals, and then we can do compound file magic, boom, boom, boom. And now that just works. Much better there. And then we can come over to compound file. We can look at our header signature, and we can jump down to it. And this whole thing here, rather than having to do this mess of stuff, we can actually just do this maneuver up here, file, and then sequence equals, and oh, I named mine differently. Is that what I did? Oh, I did. Let's make it match. Make it match the link one. Okay, now I don't need my local function down here. This goes away. Bippity boppity booyah. Okay, that gets me more happiness. Okay, so let's go back here. I just want to look really quick because ultimately what I'm looking for is places where I am doing a stream read that would advance the stream's position that previously wasn't advancing the stream's position. Okay. Because I think in a lot of these cases, it's not. Oh, I'm probably getting bit too by. No, all of these ones reset the positions, don't they? They explicitly set it. They don't reset it. They don't cache and reset. But they do explicitly set it because it is an absolute offset. So all of those should be the same. Okay, before I get too carried away, does the test pass after that one change? Or do I have more to chase down? Okay, that one went green. Let's go back. Full run. Each time we're getting a few more greens. Goal! We win! We win! We win! Okay. Pause. New branch. Clean up. Read bytes. Okay. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Kraken, write me a commit message, please. Make it sound good. Make it look good. Pretty please. Use streams instead of arrays for, yeah, that's great. Close enough. Okay, push that sucker. Okay, so let's go file read all bytes. We're gonna just keep. I don't care about tests because tests don't matter. Let's go here. Tests must be wrong if they're all green this quickly. Hey, they started red. There was quite a few reds when we started. But the tests were green when I started, and this is the only reason why I'm comfortable doing this refactor is the test coverage over this area, despite it being AI done, was somewhat extensive and fairly complete. So I'm confident in most of what's there. Put it that way. Mostly confident. Because I went over all of the tests to make sure that they all looked reasonable. The hard part is because some of these things are around signing, it's like looks reasonable and is correct are not quite the same thing. Ultimately, the test is you have to like sign with a real key and then verify the signature to make sure it's right. And the end-to-end stuff passed with a key vault. So I'm like, they can't be that far off. The key vault signatures are also coming back valid. So there's only so much you can mess up there. Write bytes in, write bytes out. Okay, what is your problem here? Slice can be simplified because you're going to use a range. Great. Do the rangey thing. Use range operator. You know what? Do that whole thing in this project. Make it so. Thank you. I don't want to look at those anymore. Okay. So, back up to where we were. Where was the file read all bytes? Did I? Huh? Let's see. MDX question. Does the color adjustment, material design colors, change in the bundled theme depending on the colors chosen? Yes. Yes. Great question. Specifically, I don't have it in my... One second. Problem with running Canary builds is I don't have my recent history bits here. But we can pull it open real quick and I'll show you. That one. Yeah, and there is, so just to be clear, the color adjust is really there for people who want to favor getting accessible colors and are less particular about exact colors. Because if you care a lot about exact colors, this is not a good thing here. Like some people have designers that actually spend their time picking out the exact colors that they want, and they make sure that they've got the great contrast ratio and all that stuff, right? If you've got that, don't use this. This is for people like me where I may not always have a designer, but I'd like to make sure that my colors are always accessible to people. And so it will set a reasonable difference in theme colors to make sure that everything meets materials design accessibility contrast ratios, right? And so it's going to push for 4.5, and this is worth noting, this is the small text contrast ratio. If you're using this and you're like, I've handled the small text case, I'm just using the paper in the foreground, like I don't need that, like you can change this to dial it down. I'm trying to remember what the large text is, 2.8 maybe. But this guy here, so if we go I think this is probably the easier one to see it. So these guys here, adjust colors. So anytime you call into the set theme, if the colors adjustment has been set on there, it will go through and adjust the colors for you. So it doesn't care whether it's a custom color theme or a bundled color theme. If you call set theme with this guy, with a colors adjustment set on there, it will work. If you are using bundled theme, or so bundled theme calls into set theme here, and then custom color theme calls into it here, because you'll note in both of these cases they're basically just waiting for you to set properties, and then as soon as you've set the minimum number of properties, right? So in custom theme, it's looking for, have you set the base, so dark, light, system, and then have you set primary and secondary. Once you do that, it creates a new theme object, copies in any color adjust that's been set, calls apply theme, and then if you change this property later, it'll also call set theme. But if you're doing it in code, set theme is the entry point that everything goes through to be able to apply themes. So if you've done any theme customization, or hey, I want to change a brush or otherwise, this is the guy here. And so it'll apply to any theme that comes in. So any theme object that has a color adjustment set on it, the color adjustment will get applied regardless of whether it's bundled or custom. So yeah. And yeah, it'll pick it based upon whatever colors are set in here. Right. So on the bundled one in here, it is going to go through and pick out the primary color based upon the swatch that you've picked out. So that's the whole setup. It's not overly advanced, but it's pretty cool. So good question. Leave that guy open for a minute. Okay. I lost my find window, and I don't know where it went. Okay, it's because you were docked in a weird place. Let's go here. This guy here. So try read from file, try read from signature. Ba-ba-bum. This looks like try read from signature. Where is this guy coming in from? So again, tests I don't care about. That's the invocation there that we're talking about. That's a reference there. That's a reference here. This is taking in the byte array there. Just don't want to read in. Because if I change this from read only of span, I've now broken it from here where I've intentionally pulled this out. Because what all is this? What all is it doing with raw? So length, it's pulling some bit of the span out of here. Index of marker, which is OID search bytes. Marker ever reassigned? No. Marker is fixed. So it's really just wanting to loop through the bytes, searching from, while search from is less than raw length index of. Oh, this pains me so much. This pains me so much. I'm trying to remember what So, a former colleague of mine at one point in time wrote a really slick, effectively he rebuilt a regex engine for byte patterns over, I think it was streams. It might have been span of byte. But he basically, because he wasn't just hunting for fixed patterns of bytes, he was hunting for byte patterns. So it was more like a regexy engine over bytes. I don't remember what he told me he did. Because he at one point in time, he's one of those guys that we love going back and forth one-upping each other, because there's been a number of times in our careers where we've had to come in and work on the other's code. And he very much enjoys coming in, taking something that I've built and going, guess what? I cut your execution time in half. It's like, dang, Nabby, what did you do? Like, and he had a very clever trick, and I'm trying to remember what it was. What did he say his... I might have to message him and ask, because that I'm willing to bet this is exactly what I need here. Because this, I can't... Well, I'm just trying to do... What is the search from being? Absolute marker. Advance past this marker for the next iteration, regardless of what happens below. Search from marker index. So it goes running, finds the index of the marker. If it doesn't find the marker, it early exits. If it does find the marker byte array, it moves. It takes the marker's location. So wherever I started from, which could be 0, plus the marker's index, we'll say 10. Increments to the byte beyond that, and then continues iterating. Let's see. Checks to make sure that there's a 2-byte big Indian outer one. A Copilot, make this method extremely efficient. I'm somewhat tempted to let it go at this. I'm less concerned about the efficiency of this and more this is what's really bothering me. Because I have one code path where I know I'm feeding in a segment of bytes that I've already parsed out of an MSI file. But then I also have this code path where I need to feed in an arbitrary installer file, which I think is going to be our setup.exe if I'm not mistaken. And that will, but this is highly inefficient. And I'm just worried, like, I think I need to convert this to a stream. I think I need to make this a stream so that I can just file open it with tests. Actually, you make a good point. Hang on. You make an excellent point. I do have a bunch of tests around this. I do already have a bunch of tests. So if we do this... screw it. We've already done a commit. We can roll back to this if we need to. What's my pending change? Just the slice bit. Okay, we're going to stage that for now. Okay, worst case scenario, something goes wrong, and we just drop all the changes. Okay, so let's stream. Okay. And this is where I think I am probably going to need to implement my own index of here. I think I'm going to need to implement my own index of and rip through this thing as I go. Okay. I think that's where we need to go, but what is this doing down here? It's pulling out an individual byte. Cannot apply. I'm actually curious. What do you have on here? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, nothing extra. Okay. Yeah, because I don't think I'm just trying to decide if stream is the right option. I think it is because I don't want to take the thing off of disk if I don't have to, or at least don't want to take the whole thing off of disk. Because we need an index of, and then I need the ability to pull out. Because my index of method, I can pass. I don't need a range operator. I can just take in an individual start from and go through and do here. Down here, I just need an indexing operator where I can pull out an individual byte and then do some stuff with it. Because this is literally just looking to pull that out. And then I need to slice out a span of it. But do I actually need to do that? Or what do you do here? What is magic length? 32. Got it. Okay. Yeah, when I first got to this, Fable had originally written these with byte sequences, and I was like, no, we're using characters. We're not casting this sucker down to a byte, right? And actually, I probably should rename this from is valid channel byte to char, because before this was a byte, and it was doing byte casting math, and that was horrible and made me want to cry. Okay, so I think we still let the slice go through here, but we do a stream extensions, and we go here. And I think what I want is public int index of, and then I want other sequence, and then I want a long start position, I think. And I think I'm just trying to think of how I want to go through and do this. So I want to pull the stream apart, effectively looking for. I'm trying to decide if I just array pool this and rent other sequence dot length, and we do something of this nature. So pull this up here. Last position. I think we can come down here and just do this once. We don't need to do it every single time. So pull that out. This is not going to work. Stream read pool as span. don't think I like that nearly as much. Because I think I just want to do this, don't I? I think I want to do read. And then I want to go int read bytes because we need to actually check the return to know exactly how many we've gotten. Because this is going to guarantee that we get at least this many. The problem is we can't just do index of other sequence because that isn't quite right either. We effectively need to know, have we brought in enough? Sorry, I'm trying to think my way through this problem. So thinking out loud. I need to just a finite state because I need the position in the stream that we've read, which we've got here. I don't think we need this inside of here. We're going to need to loop. This is going to need to be a loop. Because inside of here, while true, right? Deal with this for a moment. Let's see. If read bytes dot is less than or equal to 0, break. And we give up on what we found. And actually, I don't think we break. We can just return -1 because if we've gotten to the point where we can't read anymore, we don't do anything else. We then take the bytes that we've read and we need to know. Copilot, none of this is right. Stop. Just stop trying to write that line. That is not what we're doing. We need to. So for I equals 0. Let's see. I less than. Oh, see now, Copilot, you're doing something interesting. Let's see. Pool sub I equals other sequence. Okay. If remaining and read bytes, then just do a sequence equals to see if we have the most. I don't like this. This is not, we cannot rely on that because this doesn't handle the case where we've landed partway through it. Need to read more from the stream. No, this is also wrong. Yeah. So short version, dunce pilot. We ain't doing this. Because we do need to go through. Oh, I see what it was doing. Because it had checked the match here, it knows that one character so find where the first character matches and then do all of this BS because we think we might have found it versus actually implementing the rest of the stuff. No. No, that is not what we want. That is not what we want. Int other sequence match index. Great. We're going to go with for the sequence match index. And then sorry, my wife's messaging me. I think she's going on a little walk. Okay, great. Okay, so let's go here. So if other sequence, if these match, other sequence match index increment, and then we're going to keep going. We need to check if other sequence dot length matches, and okay, I think you're getting closer. Dunce pilot. Okay, so if we've reached the end of the sequence, the position we want to return is the stream's position minus the read bytes plus I minus the other sequence length plus 1. I believe that's correct. I think that's what we're going for. But what this does not handle is the case where the range goes off the end of the buffer. So to handle that case, we get through here. That's the end of the for loop. So we've reached the end of the for loop. We've reached the end of the for loop. We have not. We've gone into this sequence. We've come into here. We've incremented this, but we have not reached the end. So we get through. We get done. We've reached read bytes. We come through here. That doesn't hit anything. Drop into the while loop. Loop to the top. Read again. Pull out more bytes. And then continue iterating. I think this works. We'll know in a bit. Send it. Okay. Going here. So this is going to be raw index of search from, but that's the wrong order of parameters because I did the index first and the marker second. What's your problem here? Stream does not contain index of. Yes, it does. Now it does. Okay, there we go. Yay, extension methods. Okay, so that gets me to there. And then it will put the position of the stream back at the end of index of. So index of saves the last position off and then restores it at the end. So the position will functionally not change regardless of what it does. Okay, and then I need some way of pulling out an individual byte. What is this doing though? It's grabbing two bytes, bit shifting one over, and then grabbing the one after it. Does the new extension syntax support operators? I don't know if it does. Public static byte. I don't know if it does. C# extension blocks operators. I don't know that they support it. Extension oh, they do. Extension operators generally. Look at that. Look at that. There's nope, that's not an index operator. Operator resolution. User defined. Restrictions are specified for regular user defined operators. Because I will say there is a number of times I get stymied by wanting a feature that doesn't quite exist in the language yet. Open design be disallowed. That's fine. Bitwise operators don't care. It doesn't seem to specify. So what is the syntax? Public class foo. I'm trying to remember what the public indexer. That's what I want. That's the syntax. That's right. It looks like a property. Let's see. Oh, there's no way to do this because I can't use the this keyword on. Oh. Fine. Okay. Public byte get byte position. Right? Like it's not somewhat tempted to do this with and return 2 bytes, but you know what? We're not going to deal with it. Let's see. Read byte. Reads a byte from the stream and advances position with the stream 1 byte after it returns -1 if at the end of the stream. I think we just do this, call it a day. Let's see. Get byte. Get byte. And then I need a slice function in here. So read only span slice. Public read only span byte slice. And then start, and this thing previously, just want to confirm that this works the same way. Can't type, that's not a good sign. Let's see, start and length, what I want. Okay. Let's see, long start and length. And I'm only doing long start because the position property on stream supports longs. Okay. Hey, Society Dog, welcome in. Good to see you. Okay. We are having fun in Velopack Flow land, converting some previously inefficient File.ReadAllBytes code into things that don't consume a lot of bytes. Okay. I think I'm okay with this. I don't know that I want to stack alloc this. I don't think I want to stack alloc it. Because I don't know how long that's going to be, is the problem. Slice come after get byte. Oh, I see what you're saying. JC, your eagle eye is always appreciated. But now you're making me realize that I should do this one down here too. There, something more like that. Ah, flaps there. That looks a little bit nicer. Let's see. I'm making a builder for Guild Wars 1 and 2 so you don't have to use websites. Cool. Though I'm confused on what builder is. I might need some context if that's a typo or not. Let's see. So read exactly, buffer length, that's position, resets. That seems like it should be fine. Okay. So that leaves that. Then all fat, dumb, and happy. This guy here, block body this guy, and then we're going to go using stream. Or actually, we can go file stream. It doesn't matter. FS gets file open. And then this just becomes FS, and then that problem goes away. For making build for classes in game, maybe a better name. You're setting armor stats, skills, etc. for your game. Oh, cool. Yeah. Slice after sequence. Dang it. Dang it. Dang it. Dang it. Yes. It has never been more apparent to me that I cannot spell than right now. Okay, so that goes there. That goes there. That goes there. Okay, now the question is how many... I live for these moments. Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that I like. Engineers have a unique brain for being able to spot patterns. Like I was joking with a colleague just yesterday that like engineers, we are hardwired to like spot mismatch quotes, mismatch parentheses, curly braces. Like it bothers me when I'm reading like an email or a Word document and there's like an open paren and there's not a matching closing. Like I get so twitchy about it. They're like, how did you spot that? I'm like, my brain is hardwired for these things. Like I cannot make that stop. You in the area where I saw yesterday alert about air quality. My phone did not buzz on air quality, but I kind of suspect it's going to if it hasn't already. There's been a number of fires in the area, and the smoke was out earlier and it was very noticeable. But let me check. Normally my phone buzzes when there's an air quality alert, and I did not see one today. But let me just double check and see if it's... Oh, yeah. Let's see. Not a air quality. The value's over 500. Yeah. No, and we kind of got a little bit of reprieve from it because it actually rained a little bit this morning and I think that put down a lot of it. Yeah. Ironically, there is a red flag warning for thunderstorms for the next 24 hours, so that's exciting. I might have to change my plans for tomorrow based upon that. Oh, I guess that's only until tomorrow at 9 a.m. So, maybe I won't have to change my plans. Yeah, and there's been a number of those things where it's just one thing after another. Okay, so try read from signature. I'm trying to decide if I just overload this sucker. I think I overload this guy now. This told me it was like living next door to a mega barbecue that was over like, yeah, and that is one of the disappointing areas about where I live is we joke that this time of year is fire season. Like the number of wildfires and air quality alerts and similar that come through are no joke. But like the last two wildfires that were set, like there was one yesterday where I was reading somebody had intentionally set their own house on fire. And I'm like, what? Why? Like I cannot, huh? It is not computing. Okay, I think this is just all here. So what I think I'm going to do is cheat a little bit. Because this one here, I'm just going to go using memory stream. MS gets new signature. Oh, I need to, that's not going to work quite that way. I need my null check first. If signature is null, or null, and now we can get away with this. Now we can do this, and now we can do this, something of that nature. Okay, so that fixes that. Let's go here. I think for all of these tests, I think I can just convert these ones over to returning streams. I don't know that there's... Well, there are cases where it's doing both. Yuck, 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 yuck. Okay, I want to try something clever. I think I can get away with something kind of interesting, but I don't know if this actually works. So we're going to try it. Private static class. But what I'd like to do is this, and then I would like to go extension, goes channel tag. Right? Do you not allow top level non-generic static class? Okay. 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 I got you. I got you. Okay. I could play that game. I can play that game. So you won't let me nest the class, but can I file scope the class? We had a couple of days with 30 degrees, 30 plus Celsius temps. But I can see I can't complain. We don't have those fires like you have. Yeah. Yeah. And occasionally they get scary. Like last year, or no, was it last year? 2 years ago. It actually, one of the smaller cities nearby, actually the main downtown area burned, which was terrifying to have a fire like just roll through a city. Like file scope class. So yeah, this scopes the class to just to this file. What it ends up doing is the compiler generates a deterministic unique ID on the end of the class name. And the compiler then enforces that the only thing that is referencing this is things inside of here. Now, it is still functionally, I think it's the generated class is registered internal. Might have to double check that. And that only matters for the purposes of reflection, where if you reflect over your assembly and you go hunting for types, you will find these file scope types with their long, ugly extension on the end of them via reflection. So it is one of those things that if you use reflection and you're like iterating over all assembly types, even though the compiler ensures that the only references to this type are in this file, it does not enforce it otherwise. Generally, this is a feature that was largely put in for source generators, where they're generating into a partial class, and they want to generate extra types that are only useful inside of that partial and not to the rest of the class. Because, you know, they've got some internal logic where they just need something, but it's kind of internal to what they're generating and they don't want to expose it. This gives you a way of doing that. I also like it for unit test purposes like this, because it gives me a kind of a cheater way of adding in extra things that I really only want this one test to do. I've never done this before, though. So this is going to be read only. And actually, I think what I can do is I can just do this, and then do that, and then perfect. They all work now. So now my unit test has a nice little extension method that does the needful, and I don't have to rewrite any of them. And they just continue to work. Booyah. Okay. So that compiles. Now the big question, does it still pass? Come on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I see a 2. I can't remember if that was from the last run or not. Oh. Broke something. Let's see. Expected. Okay, so try read from signature, malformed then valid, skips malformed. Okay, so we have 2 things here. Corrupt magic. Concat. Okay, well, let's go see if we can spot it. This may or may not be an easy thing to spot. I just want to confirm. Position 0, length 114. Okay. And I'm going to go with my index of is going to be the failure case. Index of 0. So it came back with that, and 6, 11, 43, 6. That's the first 4 bytes of our sequence. Now, if I look at you, and I pull 6, 11, 43, 6. Okay, so that is probably legitimate. Absolute marker, search from 0 plus marker index. Wow, sounds insane. We had a big fire in a 4-level apartment building just next door to our house. Whoa, took 50 firemen, 10 hours to get out. It was from about 8 p.m. to 6 or 7 in the morning. Dang. It was horrible, but then no one got hurt. Well, that's good. And it was one guy in a top apartment that set his place on fire with fireworks and had the day before test escape ladder, but the police caught him the day after. Sadly, 2 days before, they tried to put him in a psych hospital, but the doctors turned him away. Oh, ouch. Yeah, it's one of those, like, right now, when summer hits, like, our area doesn't, I'm trying to remember the right term. It's not drought, but there is water conservation things put in place, where it's not a hard rule. They just put in requests of, hey, we would like people to not be watering their lawns during the heat of the day, which frankly you shouldn't be doing that anyway. It's best to water evenings and mornings, right before that part. But there's a handful of those types of things, and so there is a lot of dry area around here, and so there, like, when something kicks off, it kicks off. Like, Washington State is known as the evergreen state because we have a lot of pine trees that stay green all year, which is cool if you want to see greenery all year round. But pine trees drop pine needles. Pine needles get dry, leaves a nice set of kindling on the ground level, and then when the pine trees go up, which are nice soft wood, they can cause a nice hot fast burning fire, and a little bit of wind picks up and it can go really far really fast, and it's not always easy for the firemen to get in front of them, though thankfully like they've gotten pretty good at the logistics and deployment of people. Like, the entire Pacific Northwest in the United States, like Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, like the smoke jumpers all communicate, and they'll send resources from one to another and back and forth, because fires don't care about where state lines are. And so when there's a fire that goes up, usually it's everyone jumps in to help, which is great. My dad actually used to be a smoke jumper for many years. So for people who don't know that term, forest firefighter, basically. They often, depending on where the fire is, sometimes they get deployed out via, they literally rappel out of helicopters down into backcountry to be able to cut fire lines, backburn, or whatever it's going to take to put a fire down. Let's see, so this goes there. Read-only span. Yeah, the apartment took like 30 minutes. The apartment on fire. The whole roof was lit. It had a tar paper roof type. Fireman said it was a really worst case. Yeah, yeah, I absolutely believe that. Okay, so try parse record failed, but that is expected because our test is, oh, where is it? Is malformed then valid. So expect the first one to fail. And then we come in here, and now we should have a search from that's, oh, interesting. Oh, no, that makes sense because absolute marker was 0 because it started there and then it indexed to 1. So then what is the marker index here? 56, which I think roughly makes sense. If we look here, non-public 56, I'm expecting to see 611436. 611436, great. Okay, so that shockingly seems to be working appropriately. Absolute marker, sure. Okay. After marker 72, pulls the byte. Okay, so min record length. What is this? That isn't true, so it's got to be here. Velopack, is this the complete release system for the app you made, right? Yes. No, thank you. Yes, it is. It is. And if you are interested, there's this guy here. And specifically, the part that we're working on is the hosting, the Velopack Flow portion. So this is a closed source. The Flow hosting is a private repo, not a public one. But for people who want to host their own installers on GitHub releases, your own S3 buckets, whatever, have at it. It's free, tooling, SDK, the whole 9 yards. Go for it. Because it doesn't cost us anything for you to host your own releases. However, for our hosting, it does cost something, and so we do charge for our hosting. But some of what we do, like for this particular feature that's being worked on, is channel promotion. So you've got an app in your beta release, you want to push it to your prod channel. You don't want to have to necessarily recompile every time just to make a prod release. We have the ability to promote from channel beta to channel prod or back and forth. Right? There's some naming rules around what channels have to be for the promotion things to work because we have to link them together so that we know which ones go where. Because especially if you're producing, say, an Avalonia app that targets Mac, Windows, and Linux, you're going to end up with 3 separate channels for each platform. And if you want a beta release for each of those and a prod release, we're now up to, what is that, six separate channels. And so we have to know which ones go where to promote. Right? It's a little easier when somebody's just doing like a WPF app and it's like, yeah, that's just Windows, right? Like there's only, each channel is a stage in your thing, but when it's a multi-platform app, now things get a little funky. Okay, so this is almost assuredly the problem here. So because this is probably what's returning true. Yeah, so records start 74 plus N, which is massive. Okay, so something in here is biting me. And I strongly suspect it is sorry, my wife's messaging me. Kind of. Yeah, it's good to. I know you like to tinkle with funky code problems. Oh, 100%. 100%. I don't know. There's something about being able to pull apart C# into a way that, I don't know. I like to understand the inner workings of it as much as possible. It always makes me feel nice. Okay, I am going to cheat. really quick. So we're going to unstage. Let's see. I just want to double check what I've got here, here. All of those. That's fine. That's fine. All of that goes there. That goes there. Great. Stash. And now I want to look at this test on the original code. Right? Because now I want to see this thing run. With the original to see, because I have a feeling my index of implementation must not be matching. That's my knee-jerk reaction. Okay, so comes through here. Marker index should be 0. Great, that matched. That did exactly what we expected. Come down here. Don't care, don't care. Try parse invalid. Great. Okay, marker index. So marker index 55. Now, if I look at this thing, 55 is... Why the heck? So mine returned 56. Why does it return... Because it searched from 1, right? Yeah, search from 1, index of marker. Am I stupid? Why would that return... Why does that return 55? Right? Like... Am I missing something obvious? Right? Because pulling back item 55 is the one before. I mean, I now understand why my change is doing something different, but I don't understand. What am I misunderstanding here? Does index of not work the way I think it does? Searches for the specified sequence and returns the index of its first occurrence. Yup. Span to search. Yup. Speakings to search for. Oh. Oh. I see it. I see it. Oh, this is dumb. This is dumb. Okay. So it's the slice that's messing me up. The reason it's off by 1 is because search from was 1. So it has sliced up the original span, and so it is grabbing the index based upon where this thing started, right? So the index being returned is not an absolute index from this, because the span that index of is acting on is actually a span that starts from index 1 of raw, not from index 0, which is why it's off by 1. And if this were okay, let's just prove a theory. All right, so if I change this to a 2, come back and do this again, set next statement, it should be off by 2. Look at that. Look at that. That's why it's now 54, right? And 54 is now 2 off of the 6, 11, 43, 6, right? And so if I change search from to a 5, I expect it to be off by 5 now. That is the difference in the implementations. 51, which is 5 off of 56, which is what we were expecting. right? Because the 56th bit, or I should say the byte at index 56 is the 61143. Ha 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 ha. There's the bug. Okay. Okay. So back to here, pop the stash. So my index of was returning an absolute index. Two major problems programmers face daily: stack invalidation, naming things, and off by one errors. Amen. Amen. So this guy here, do I change him to account for the start position? I think I do. I think I do. That way the rest of the code in the stream, starting from the given position, the index returned is relative to the start position that is specified, not the beginning of the stream. Okay. Yeah, sure, fine. Whatever you want to write there. Okay. That way future Kevin's not an idiot. Now that I have that, this is now wrong. Because it's stream position minus read bytes plus I plus start position. Okay. Now let's rerun this test, and I want to confirm that it now works the way I expect. So now we expect to see a 55 on just F5 there. The first one comes in here, should be 0 still. Great, great. 0 is 0. Nothing fancy. Invalid. Next here. Now 55. 57. I've gone the wrong way. Messed it up again. This is why we write tests. This is why we write tests right here. Because it is late enough and I don't trust myself. Yeah, I expect it to be 55, not 57. Okay, let's go back in here. What did I do here? Plus start, oh, minus start position. There we go. Okay. Okay, once again, try this again. No, that little plus versus minus thing. A small but very, very important difference. Okay, that one works. Marker index is now 55. Okay, and just because I want to confirm behavior, right? If I make this a 5 instead, I go set next statement, right? And I step over this guy. 51. Okay, good, 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 good. We'll put you back to a 1, right? Set next statement. And then we'll let you execute. And then the test goes green. Yay! Okay. Woot, woot, woot. Okay, does the other test go green? Yay! Okay, let's make sure we didn't break anything else. But I can't imagine that change breaks anything else. Here we go. Okay, so that fixes that one. Then, trying to decide if I call it for the night. Somewhat excited to be able to sleep in tomorrow. For those who weren't here earlier, today was my last day at a company I've been at for almost 13 years. So it was very much a bittersweet day. It was good. It was nice. Things ended well. Start a new position at the end of the month. So more details on that coming probably next month. Yeah, nice and sad at the same time. That is 100% right. It is, it is like I'm going to miss the people there. There is a lot of really good people at the company, and it was not an easy decision. But the new place is a fully remote position, so hopefully I will have more time at home with my family. So streams every day now. Not quite. My goal is to reduce burnout, not increase it, JC. That is the goal. And I may end up doing, like, I hadn't considered doing this, but my boss commented to me today about if I was going to either write a blog post or do a video or similar about burnout or otherwise, because, like, I warned both the CEO and the owner that I was looking for another job when I started looking. Like, so they had a lot of heads up. And that then prompted a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions, a lot of back and forth. But it was really nice. Like, it's very unusual to have that, or at least in my experience, it's very unusual to have that kind of relationship with your boss where you can tell them that you're looking for another job and their immediate reaction is, how can I help? Right? Like, that's not normal. And it, like, my boss was even one of my referrals, which was kind of weird. So, like, and again, which, like, that place is a very unique company and a very, like, no hard feelings with them whatsoever. Happily would still recommend them. But I was just, like, it is still a consulting company, and I was kind of burned out on doing a lot of the back and forth stuff with consulting, and so a fully so they wanted you out the door. I don't think so. They were way too nice. They even gave me they gave me special waffles, and like, they normally don't do a lot when people resign, but given my tenure with the company, they decided they wanted to do more, which I thought was exceptionally kind of them. So, but yeah, it was very much a bittersweet, but being able to spend more time at home and not feeling like I'm burning out was a big motivator for me. So, I'm hoping the new place seems like it should be great, but, you know, in an interview, everybody's always putting their best foot forward. It's always a nice thing. So, we will I start there at the end of the month, so probably August stream, I will probably have more details. I was going to wait a little bit to see if the old Kevin moved on party. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, like, because I often will make jokes about people about me breaking stuff and otherwise, and they all take it in good humor, which is wonderful. Um, but yes, I mean, they technically are having a party later this month without me, but I mean, they do kind of these big company events twice a year, and, you know, that one was scheduled since, like, last December, so I don't think it was about this. I don't think it was. But yeah, so that's the on the personal update side of the fence. I think this one's an easy one to do because we just wrote that index of, and really all we're looking for is this. So I think this is just going to be using file stream. It's file open read path, and then this becomes return fs index of, we start at 0, and then we go with that, and it just works. JC, have a good one at work. Warning, no stream next week. I have a camping trip planned, and I will probably not have any connection to internet. Maybe your wife is in on it. She already bought the Starlinking cabin in the woods. Well, the good news, so one, she would probably love that. However, the house that we recently moved to is kind of a dream house for her, so I'm pretty sure that's not the case. I want to overload this because I don't want to have to pass a 0 on all of these. Let's see. Index of 0, and then get rid of this. Do that maneuver, and then this needs to be long. What's your problem here? Oh, this needs to be stream dot because it's an extension. There we go, and now over here I can just do this, and then this should pass as well. Verify nothing breaks. Just as long as it keeps passing, we keep coding. I just preemptively gen the commit message for that. Yeah, that one seemed pretty straightforward to fix. That one. Okay. What are these? Well, thank you, Society Dog. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, it definitely hit me earlier today. And it was a bit rough. Like, again, there's a lot of really good people there. I had to write goodbye letters to a good chunk of them. And I think I spent, I don't know, 3 or 4 evenings just writing letters to a bunch of people because I wanted them to hear it from me rather than, finding out at a company meeting or something. This one's going to be harder. That one's also going to be, wait a minute, what is this one doing? That one's also going to be mildly more difficult, but also at the same time not that bad. Try, read, append. So this is pulling all the bytes. Yeah, so we're going to end up having to deal with each of these methods to deal with the signature. File.ReadAllBytes. Oh. Okay, I'm adding this to my list of things I want to kill. I do not like... The problem with this method here is it assumes you have all of the bytes, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with File.ReadAllBytes, but it means that you have a byte array of all of the bytes. Yeah. Sure, you made some friends for life, or sounds like it. It's always nice to have. Just remember you left, so it's on you to keep in touch more than they have. That is a good reminder. And I did go through, in the letters that I wrote to everybody that I wanted to hear it from me, like, I made sure to put all my contact information in there. The other one is, like, the company had, like, they called it a mentoring program. And I had 4 mentees, and I had told all my mentees when we first started that, hey, I don't do this like everyone else. I'm a little different. My mentorship isn't contingent upon your employment. I just didn't think it was going to be my employment that was going to be the one changing. But it was definitely a situation where there's a few of them that I've gone out of my way to try to make sure that I maintain that mentoring relationship. Because when I first started out in my career, I got incredibly lucky. Like, I had gotten my first job even before graduating from university. Only because family friend happened to be a manager at a software company and was like, okay, fine, we'll go apply. And I got in. I didn't realize that I just happened to time it perfectly where they were looking for a new intern. And here my name comes across the desk literally the same day they decide they want an intern. And so it's like, oh, look at this guy. He looks good, right? So I got lucky on the timing. And then I got incredibly lucky because the two teams that I got put on, the team lead on the first team ended up being the guy who recommended me for the job that I just left. So one, always make friends where you go because you never know when you might need them later. And then the second team that I got put on, that team lead has been my mentor for the last 17 years, I think. So like both team leads that I had at that company have been utterly amazing. And so I told all of my mentees, I'm like, hey, I got incredibly lucky and blessed with the mentors that I happen to get, and I would love the opportunity to try to do the same for you. Right? And it's like some of them like are like a couple of my mentees are more early in career, a couple of them were much later in career, and so what they need and what they want are very different, but it was really nice to hear a couple of them be like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And see, now you're passing it on. See, that's kind of the goal. Right? Like I got incredibly blessed, and I don't know. It's weird to feel like I'm the old guy. I don't know what it is. Like I'm not that old. I don't feel that old. And I was looking at him like, dang it, I've got nearly 20 years of experience. Crap. Am I the old, like I think it was 3 years ago I looked around at the other people that was on the project that I just got on, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm the old guy on the team. When did that happen? Like this is weird. I'm older than all of you by like 5 or 6 years. What the heck? So that was a fun experience being the old guy. Don't like it. Especially since I'm not the old one. Mind is not an age number. Yes. Yes. Okay, so I think what I want to do. This is kind of obnoxious. I think what we can do here, though, is I can. Because where is this? This is coming from here. Package offset. Wait a minute. Oh, I see. So it's pulling out. Okay, so it's all of the. So it's reading all the bytes from the setup path. Look, is because the setup exe inside of a Velopack installer actually does contain the NuGet package bundled inside of it. This is hunting out where the that NuGet package inside the setup exe is located from the bytes, yanking that out, making sure that it's found it, and then it is taking that NuGet package, just blindly copying it somewhere else. That must make me a granddad. Probably, is he? Because I think you've probably got me by a little bit. I'm not quite 40. So if you've got a 4 in the tens digit, you got me beat. Thank you, Society Dog. Yeah, I'm trying to decide how much I want to attack this before I crash and go down, because it is getting late and second Mountain Dew is empty, and I'm trying to decide if I crack the third one, I have to do all of these. Because this is just pulling it out here. Read Little Indian. Because I could just write an as span method on the stream. Because I've got the index of. Got the index of operator already built. I could just build the as span. Because this is read long little endian is all this does, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's all that is. So I just need something that takes in a start and a length and gives back a span. Mid 4x. Yeah. Yeah, Izzy, you're definitely the old guy then. I'll go with that. Yeah, so I just need an as span function here. We don't need to leverage it here because we've got this index of the bundle signature. Because the bundle signature we back up Oh, I see. Because the signature goes in, and then we back up enough for 1 byte worth. Wait, no, 8 bytes worth for the offset, 8 bytes for the length, and then pulls it through. I'm going strong at 22. Don't feel bad. Like we've got, like I shouldn't say we. At my now former company, as of hours ago, there are some young early 20s engineers there that could probably put me to shame. Like we got lucky with some of our early in career engineers, and thankfully one of them's one of my mentees. Guy is wicked smart. Even on the last PR of his that I reviewed yesterday, like my very first comment on his PR is I looked down at it and I'm like, what the heck? Because he was building out a source generator, and he had set up a launch settings on his project with the, what was it? He sent me the link that I need to go through because I was gonna, my Source Weaver project that we worked on several weeks ago, I was gonna go and add it in there. There is actually a launch profile to be able to launch straight into the debugger, and I had never seen this before. I was like, I learned something new today. So it's like, even the young ones, the field moves so fast. There is always a chance that some 22-year-old is going to come in and surprise me with something I've never seen before because there's so much stuff coming so rapidly. It's very plausible that somebody knows things I don't. So I started working as a software engineer at 17, been going for 5 years at the same job. Time to find a new one, I think. Depends on the place, but possibly. Like, and that's one thing that the place that I just left is they don't do it well, but they are aware of that, and they are actively trying to fix it. Because there is a kind of a reoccurring problem in the software industry where the easiest way to get a promotion is to jump jobs to a different place, which is just kind of wrong. Because the cost of replacing an engineer is so high. Like, if the person's worth that promotion at another place, just give it to them, right? Like, obviously some companies can pay more than others, and there's differences in benefits and all. Like, there's plenty of other factors to consider. But and again, the prior company that I worked at, like, they are at least aware of the problems in their process and are trying to. They've got a plan in place to act, that they are actively fixing it, and hopefully some of those land as early as like before the end of the month. So I can at least appreciate companies that acknowledge where they're coming up short and try to do something about it, especially because like people shouldn't have to change jobs always. Now there might be plenty of other reasons to leave the job, but hopefully most places are kind of wising up. It's just salary at this point, to be honest. Don't care about the career ladder per se, but changing jobs will increase the salary most likely. I'm just 22, so I might as well try to max out what I can get and save up as much as possible. Yeah, no, that's not necessarily a bad play either. Like, depending on where you're at, like 2 employers ago, that was one of my driving factors for leaving. Like, even though the company I was at was by far the best company culture I have ever had, and I don't think I will ever replicate again. It was a small company with a very limited revenue stream, and so they really couldn't afford to pay much. And so it was one of those, at a certain point I was like, sorry guys, like I'd like to I'm being offered such a nice pay raise to leave. It's kind of hard for me to stay. So like, it wasn't all complete pay. Like, the other one offered a lot more opportunity, a lot more things for training and otherwise, opportunities for my own team and things like that. So it was like, sorry, like, but yeah, I could absolutely see that. Because again, depending on where you're at, certain places can just flat out afford to pay more, right? Like, Netflix is notorious for ludicrously high salaries. Now they don't do like benefits or other ones, but Um, there are places that just crank out much higher salaries because they have higher revenue streams and they can afford to do it. There was one company that came into town 5 or 6 years ago, and their corporation had basically said, there's not enough engineers in this area. We're just going to pay 30% above what everyone else is and poach everybody's good engineers. That was their game plan, and it worked rather well. Let's see. Will Velopack survive? I think so. It's actually a weird thing that I'm noticing is, like, it does have a little bit, like, it is kind of a niche product, right? Like, people build a lot of web apps. But recently I've been seeing more and more people start pushing the idea of thick client-based applications. I do not know whether it's AI reasons, but for some reason I have seen more and more thick client applications start to get built, and I don't know why. I don't know what's changed. Like, AI came onto the scene, but I don't think that makes it, like, maybe it's lowered the cost, where before it always felt easier to build web applications because there's so many more web engineers than there are thick client engineers. And so maybe it lowered that bar to where more people do it. So yeah, it will survive as long as thick client applications are a thing. Because there is very few other solutions out there that have the same feature set as Velopack. So most, like, the key features are cross-platform support. So Mac, Windows, and Linux. Not all installer frameworks can handle all of those. So if you are building a cross-platform app, a lot of times you end up multiple installer frameworks if you don't use something like Velopack. And then a lot of them don't come with an update SDK or mechanism in there. And so being able to have some way of updating your app, not just installing it, because a lot of installers say, great, we installed it, you're on your own for figuring out how to do updates, right? You build all of that in place. Like, most installer type companies and frameworks don't have those two pieces together. Or if they do, they aren't free. So I don't know of another free installer updater SDK that has that same feature set. I don't think it exists, or at least it's not on my radar if it does. Right? So, but again, some people will pick other solutions over ours for whatever reason, and that's fine. Yeah, more people want access to the hardware. It could be that, Izzy, that more people are wanting things off the device, and like a web app, that is a limiting factor, right? And maybe it's that AI is killing off the need for the forms, the text boxes over data type applications that so many web apps are, right? Is I move data from point A to point B, and so now we can move past those simple data entry applications and build something fun, which, my opinion, thick client apps are fun. So time to get to the grindstone. You set a massive maze for the work experienced students to play with today. Cool. That actually sounds like fun, Izzy. And me, I get to sleep in tomorrow, go walk the dog in the morning. It's gonna be great. Like, I don't have to rush. I can take my time. I got nowhere to be. I got to prep for a camping trip. That is my agenda for tomorrow. Okay. I think I'm going to punt on this one for now. Make sure that's pushed. I think I am getting to the tired point. Might have to just crash. Feels like a good time to do it. I think so. But yeah. Appreciate all the discussion from everybody. Quick reminder, next week, no stream as I'm camping. TBD on whether, so for me, 2 weeks out is the 30th of July. So depending on what time zone you're in, that could be the 31st. There may or may not be a stream that week. We have family coming to stay with us. I do not know if I will be available to stream or not. I may try to do something a different day or push it around. Follow Discord for updates for that one. But no stream on the 23rd, 24th. What's worth. With that, thank you everyone for coming and hanging out. Always appreciate it. JC, I know you had to sign off, but always appreciate the eagle eye. As always, happy coding. See everyone next time.